The Phrygian mode has a distinctive, intense and dark minor sound. Because of this, Phrygian is often used in metal music to provide an evil or exotic edge. Listen to how it sounds here with the E Phrygian scale, which has the notes E, F, G, A, B, C and D. Compare this to the E natural minor / Aeolian mode. You can see that there's one note of difference, F sharp. This is the second scale degree of the natural minor scale. In the Phrygian mode, this is a flat or minor second scale degree. This note will be vital in defining the Phrygian sound in the melody examples. Phrygian is a minor sounding scale. This is because it has a flat third note in it. As such, I'll add this to the list of notes to highlight in the melody to create a Phrygian sound. I'll use these two notes now in an example in the key of E Phrygian. These are F and G. I'll also use the root or tonic note E to spell out the key. Here's a very simple melody that highlights these notes. You want to focus on these notes to bring out the Phrygian flavour, but what else can you do to achieve this? If you play notes on a strong beat, then they are felt more and stand out. In a 4/4 time signature, with 4 beats in a bar, this would be beats 1 and 3, with the first beat being the strongest. Listen to the following example. In bars 1 and 2, the flat 3 and flat 2 notes, G and F, are on weak beats. In the second half, they fall on the strong beats 1 and 3. I want to give you a few basic melody tips now. The main tip would be to keep it simple. In most styles of music, vocal melodies are repetitive, simple, and cover a limited range. Don't overcomplicate your melodies, and you won't go far wrong. For example, look at this basic melody in E Phrygian. When creating melodies, it is important to consider the shape of the pattern. Melodies can move downwards or upwards in small steps or big leaps. This can take you into different octaves. Balancing the movement or shape of the melody is another important part of creating and maintaining interest. Look out for the leaps and steps into different octaves in the next Phrygian example. I said that placing a note on the strong beat can make it stand out. Another thing that can highlight a particular note is making it the highest note in a phrase. This could be used to highlight a key note in your Phrygian melody, or if you have lyrics, it could be to showcase an important word. In the next example, I'll end each phrase with the flat 3 and flat 2 notes, G and F, that I highlighted as being key to the Phrygian sound. Melodies don't live in isolation. They have a strong relationship with harmony, or in other words, chord progressions. Let's now look at how this relationship works. A melody can be written from two broad approaches. You can write the melody first, and then fit chords to the melody. Or you can write the chords first, and then the melody. The second approach is the most common, probably because it is easy to strum chords on a guitar or play them on a piano and then sing along. If you look at a lot of popular songs, you'll see how the chords directly influence the melody with the choice of notes. If you have an existing Phrygian chord progression, you can start with this and create a melody for it. You can of course use the tips and ideas already discussed, but now you have a few more things to consider. The easiest way to build a melody from chords is just to use chord notes. Each chord will be constructed with several notes, and whilst that chord is playing, you can use these notes to create a melody. For example, a popular Phrygian chord progression is 1, 2, 1, 7. In the key of E Phrygian, these chords would be E minor, F major, and D minor. E minor has the notes E, G, and B, F major is constructed with F, A, and C, and D minor uses the notes D, F, and A. In the next example, I'll construct a melody using only these chord tones. Now I'll use the same chord progression, but instead of chord notes, I'll use the other 4 notes from the E Phrygian mode. This group of 4 notes will change as the chords change. The chord note melody feels really safe, and if you place these notes on the strong beats in the bar, it feels even safer. Notes from outside of the chord sound tenser and unsettled. The level of tension depends on several factors. If it's in the scale of the key, then it will have some tension, with different levels within this. And then if you want greater tension, you can reach out for chromatic or alien notes. Writing a melody is a balancing act, building up tension and then resolving it by selecting these different notes. So far, all the melody examples have used quarter notes that fall on one of the 4 beats in a bar. This is fine for some of your melody, but over the course of a song it can become predictable and boring. A lot of melodies utilise syncopation to generate a more rhythmic interest. Earlier in the video I discussed the role of strong and weak beats in a bar. Syncopation is where the weak beats in a bar are accented rather than the usual strong beats. And if you utilise notes that don't fall on any of the beats, then it will feel even more syncopated. You can put a rest and avoid notes where the strong beat falls to further create a syncopated feel. In the next example, I'll use a more syncopated rhythm for the melody. I'll use a mixture of chord and non-chord tones played over a 1-3-7-2 progression. Also listen out for a common technique where notes are held over chord changes. This is usually done with a shared chord tone to provide a pleasing bridge to smooth out the change. In this example, I used the B note to move from E minor in bar 1 to G major in bar 2. Both chords contain this note. In another video on the channel, I created the chords for a song in the key of E Phrygian. You can watch that in the playlist at the end of this video. I've written a melody for it here. This uses techniques and ideas that I've discussed throughout. You can see that it has chords beyond standard minor and major, which I haven't covered in this video. But don't panic, the same rules apply. You just have a greater range of notes in the chord that can feel safe in your melody. Indeed, this is something that songwriters do if they have an existing melody and want to match chords to it. Utilising different chord types can accommodate melody notes and make them feel safer. You'll see the notes in the underlying chords highlighted throughout, so you can see how the melody mixes chord and non-chord tones. Follow along, listen to the melody, and then have a go at writing your own Phrygian melody. You've learned how to write a melody, but you need to be able to write the rest of a Phrygian mode song. Watch the playlist on screen now to master Phrygian songwriting.